Hey guys, how you doing? This is Manga, etc. I'm here to bring a review for Tenmaku Cinema Manga Chapter 2. So here we go. So a question I had coming out of number one was, what was the movie that Hajime, possessed by Tamaku, wrote down? I thought it might be the Fang, but it might not be the Fang. And we get the answer to that question very early on within this chapter. And now the movie that we are going to be making at first, yes, I said at first, is going to be called The Shore. And now we basically spend this whole chapter just really learning, rather getting more insight into our female lead, and we see that how she was very, obviously we knew this from last chapter, but we see that she is very inspired by the script, and we get a little bit of an insight of just how she gets into character before she acts out slash makes her movies that she stars in. So we get to see a little bit like that. So that's insight into her as a character, and she is very passionate about making this movie, and it kind of makes you wonder, or at least it makes me wonder, one, why, and two, if this movie, which is not the Fang, which is supposedly Tamaku's greatest hit, if this movie is that inspiring, then what was the Fang? Like literally, like what was that? What was the Fang? How was that all good? How good was that? So this chapter was really focused on her and just seeing how much passion she goes into her movies, but mixed in there as well. Uh, we first with Hajime, we first see him start off. He's like, "Yo, like, not making this movie," and he's got his reasons for not making this movie, and I can understand his reasons. I get it, and he doesn't want to make this movie. But once upon reading the script, he is so moved. Actually, I don't think it's at that point that he's decided he wants to make the movie, but I feel like that's the starting point to him wanting to work the movie. And now that's the starting point, and then he gets into talking to our female lead. So I will learn her name. I will learn her name eventually, I promise. And they start talking about the different scenes in the movie, how they would be shot, blah blah blah. And that's when he's like, "Yo, all right, cool. I actually want to make this movie." And now we get this whole thing with Hajime, and he's basically knows how he wants to fill the season, knows how the scene wants to be filled, and he's asked like, "Yo, like, you sure you never made a movie before?" And now it's understandable how he would want things to work, because he's such a movie buff, such a movie extremist. The mindset of a director would be in this, so that makes sense to me. So I wasn't surprised by that. I was kind of surprised though about how I wasn't expecting this level of interaction between Hajime and the female lead at this point in the series. They did a lot of talking together within the series. Granted, it was about the movie, the show, and movies in general, so nothing on a personal level, but they did a lot of talking, which I wasn't expecting so early on within the series. But I still stand by what I said, that how they will start talking on a personal level. I think the first real connection will be the fact that they don't really have friends outside of they don't really have friends, so I think that'll be that first connection. But I do think a personal relationship between the two will come later on, possibly leading to a relationship. I'm not much. I'm not, when it comes to, I just want to read my series. Like, I just want to read my series. I'm not really the shipper, but I think this is not the first time, but one of few times where I actually am shipping two characters. So for now, Hajime and you know what I'm talking about. And so yeah, there's that. So by the end of the series, rather, by the end of the chapter, we find out that yeah, they're gonna make this movie with the help of the rest of the members of the movie club. And again, that makes sense. He wouldn't have been able to do it alone. It takes a whole crew to make a movie. So Hajime will be director, duh, and we have our female lead as the female lead, the female lead, and Tamako will be behind the scenes kind of thing. But obviously, the rest of the members of the movie club will fill the members of the rest of the whole film crew, whatever members you need to make a good movie. They will feel, obviously. And that's how we end off the chapter. So another thing we've got to talk about within the chapter is when Hajime says, like, yo, like, I thought Tenmaku was just an average, amateur, novice, whichever word you want to throw out, scriptwriter. And he doesn't see that way anymore. See him that way anymore. And now you gotta look at Tenmaku and think, all right, cool. Like, who exactly are you? Because that kind of question does stand out, because it's not confirmed if it's a lie or not, but he wrote a movie for a famous director who was willing to direct this movie. So he's got to have some talent behind him there if that's true. However, what we can look at and say for sure is that he was so inspired by seeing a real actor in the flesh that he was able to write a movie based on her. Well, not based on her, but like he was so inspired by her that he came up with a movie just there and then. And just he had to write it straight away, kind of thing. So he has some talent there. And a thought dawned on me as to where I can see this series going now, because that's something that's kind of not clear to me as of yet. It's just, where is the series going on now? And now I don't think I want this. What I'm going to say next, I don't think I want it, but this is where I feel like this is where the series is going for now. So we are going to go down a route of where we make multiple movies. I don't know how many in total, but multiple movies. And every one of these movies will be inspired by someone, either be new characters, or just new introduced characters. And these characters will inspire Tenmaku to make movies. And then all these people that inspired these movies were basically building the cast. At the end of the day, this to sum it up what I'm going to say, we are basically building the cast for the Fang. This is where I see that this series goes. We're basically building up the cast for the Fang. So before Tenmaku died, he went to I can't remember the director's name, because he thought he was the director for this movie. I don't know if actors were discussed during that time. We won't find that out during, or later on he might have had this list of whole actors that he thought, yeah, these characters need to play by XYZ people. But I feel like this series is leading to building the cast for the Fang. We have been introduced to our female lead. The female lead of the series is going to be the female lead of the Fang. The director of the Fang is going to end up being Hamaji, and so forth, and all the rest of it will build up as we go on. This is where I think that this series is going, and how we get there is by making all of these smaller movies. Right now, Hajime's got the mindset of a director, but you can study something so much and know it by theory, but when you put it into practice, it can be a different thing. So Hajime's got the mindset of a director, but he hasn't got the experience of a director. That's what he's going to build up to, becomes a director where Tenmaku sees him greater than the one he wanted him to do the Fang in the first place. And like I said, like I've been saying over and over again, as we go through the series, making more and more short movies, maybe some even longer ones, we'll be building up the cast for the Fang. And I reckon because the rest of the movie club will take up the roles of different aspects. I don't know what other kind of crew members you need for filming, but I see them filling like quote unquote minor roles, which you don't have to be, oh my gosh, a specialist at to do certain things. It's just more of a, you just take direction kind of thing. So that's where I feel like that this series is going for now. I'm going to give this chapter continue on this 2 route. We may be up until 3 soon, but we'll see how it goes. 2 for now. And like always, guys, I'm asking for your thoughts and opinions. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. But most importantly, take care. Have a nice day.